Here we go. I, Nicholas Pardue, hereby reconvene the Board of Education special meeting in open session at 5 p.m. We have a quorum present with all board members in attendance. Please note that this meeting is being both recorded and live streamed for public viewing. I would like to welcome the community members in attendance this evening. As a reminder, governing board meetings are a business meeting of the board held in public, and although public participation is encouraged, it is not the public's meeting. It is the duty of the board president and or clerk of the board to maintain an orderly, respectful, and peaceful meeting. Where all perspectives, voices, and opinions are welcome. Please refrain from speaking while another person has the floor. Item D1, the board did not take any formal action in closed session. And I would like to call Mrs. Schmidt for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic with one unity, with God, and indivisible, with the liberty and justice for all. All right. Approval of the agenda calls for a motion.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 3-1.
Before you proceed, Mr. Purdue, I just want to point something out for the audience, for those who are here. Earlier this week, Trustee Munoz resigned her position on the board because of a work-related matter, and she's no longer able to reside in her area and resigned her position. And so a press release was provided earlier today about her resignation. So the board consists of 4 members, but I want to make it very clear to the public that a majority is still 3, because even though we're a vacant positions there, it still requires 3 votes or 3 yeses or nos to carry a motion, just to be very clear. So I just want to, in essence, state the obvious, but that's why you don't see a name tag in front of the end position, because Mrs. Munoz has resigned her position. Thank you.
All right. One of the issues as we get into public comments, because I know this has come up in some online posts, what we're about to enter into does not cost us any money whatsoever. So we're filing an amicus brief. We are not filing it. We are just joining and saying we agree with this position, and we'll have that discussion as a board when the time comes. So at this time, the government board welcomes public comments. Individuals wishing to address the board are requested to complete a request to the address. That is not right. Request to address the Board of Education card located at the entrance to the boardroom and submit it to the executive assistant. In accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, individual speakers shall be allowed up to 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. The board shall take no action or discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda except as authorized by law. With that being said, first up, Emily Brooks, followed by Jennifer Rupert.
Good evening. Here we are again. Except this time we're trying to get to the Supreme Court, right, Nick? Well, we haven't. Number one, why? We were here last week. Why couldn't this issue have been put on the meeting at that point so we could talk about it in a plainer session? Why is it happening at the last minute? From what I understand, the briefs are due, like on Monday? Is that why it's happening at the last minute? Number two, you said we discussed what the brief says. We haven't seen it. You want us to sign on blind? You want this district to put our name out there on a nationwide level with this kind of ridiculousness? The school district is known for excellence, for academic excellence, for athletic excellence. Why on earth do we want to tie ourselves to such a polarizing issue? It's not what our kids need. No one in this district, right, teachers? Have any kids come to you and said, hey, we want to go to the Supreme Court, take this issue up? No, it's a campaign issue, Nick. You're up for re-election next year. You have campaign promises to meet and new ones to make. right? Bob Tyler, Advocates for Faith and Freedom, they're a strong supporter to the IE Family PAC, which, according to your disclosures, is a strong supporter of your campaign. That's why this is on the agenda tonight. They need to get that name recognition so that you can tout that in your new reelection campaign. It's ridiculous. It's inappropriate. And it's wrong. There are so many other issues our school district is facing right now. We heard about them last week from our special ed teachers here. Why are we back? If we were coming back tonight, you should be hearing from them about the issues that our kids are facing, not about this ridiculousness happening at the Supreme Court. Established precedent in the Ninth Circuit, which is California, does not say what you want that brief to say. So not only are you going against what our district needs, you're going against established law in the state of California because of an idealistic, polarizing political issue that has nothing to do with the issues before this board. Just like that speaker last week who came up here for 3 minutes and ranted against religious minorities that not one of you dared to address. Muslims ranted about it. They're raping girls in Europe. Completely untrue, and so wrong for that to have been treated with silence. We have Muslim students in this district, and last week they got a slap in the face from that speaker and by default from this board because no one stood up for those kids. No one standing up for our special needs kids. Those are the issues our district is facing. Funding, special needs access, facilities. I mentioned to Ward last week after the meeting, my daughter's had difficulty going to the bathroom at Murrieta Valley because there aren't enough restrooms for the female students there. That's a gender issue you can take up. They've closed an entire restroom because of a special student, and there aren't enough bathrooms. I believe there's plumbing policy at the state level that says how many bathrooms to student ratio you have to meet, and I don't think MB meets it. So look into that. The bond would have helped with that, Nick. Provide bathrooms for our students. Girls shouldn't have to bleed through their pants or come home with a stomachache because they can't go to the bathroom at school. Fix that. Leave this for the professionals.
Jennifer Rupert.
And by the way, we do teach time, just to let you know.
And
I don't know that they can't read it, but we try.
followed by Laura Jones.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm not as impassioned. I'm kind of frustrated, though. Just a couple of quick issues regarding the matter at hand tonight. Why is this so last minute? As usual, you haven't given us enough time to do our work in that we haven't got enough time to do adequate research. Teachers do have to work late. Elementary teachers are working late tonight, late last night, and then into this morning. We had to work all day. We can't just sit and look on a computer. So, I've heard that this is an open-ended cause, whatever it is, in that we will have to raise funds for future causes for this group. I would like that to be, I didn't have time to research because there wasn't enough time. We should be focusing on our kids. You say no money. With no time to confirm that, I find that hard to believe. I just want to know what the ulterior result or ulterior motives are here. And if money is put out, shame on you guys for not putting our district staff more aides and safety in place within our district. Thank you.
Laura Jones, followed by Nicole Kittle-Bro.
So I apologize because this was so last minute. I didn't really have time to prepare anything, but I spoke to you all last April regarding a very similar issue and said you'd be hearing from me again, and here I am. I cannot, for the life of me, fathom why we're involved in this at all. This is a mean-spirited solution in search of a problem, right? At what point does this affect Murrieta Valley Unified School District? Do you know what I want you guys to do? Educate my child. And that's about it, okay? Hiring an organization such as Advocates for Faith and Freedom, whose tagline under their little logo at the top is fighting for religious freedom in the courts or some nonsense like that, is ridiculous, okay? This is a public school district. State has nothing to do with it. Thank you very much. And on top of that, I'm pretty sure, look, I was raised Catholic, I'm Jewish now. I'm pretty sure Jesus said, those who protect the least among us, right, are the nearest to me, or something along those lines. Again, I'm an Old Testament girl now, a Torah girl now. But Jesus, he was a Jew, right? So I'm down with Jesus. Would he be up here saying, hey, let's make sure that the transgender students in our community feel like crap? feel like they're not wanted, feel like they're not as important as the other students. Is that what you'd want? Because that's what you're saying, okay? We all remember what happened with Temecula Valley Unified School District, right? Getting involved in these giant culture wars. And I'm telling you, I have family on the East Coast, okay, all the way in Philadelphia. They're calling me on the phone and saying, the hell is going on in your hometown, right? And they're saying that because it makes you look ridiculous. It makes you look like what you care about is a culture war, a dog whistle for a conservative group of Americans who want to persecute those who are already persecuted. Transgender students, transgender athletes are not here to hurt anybody. They're not here to endanger women or whatever your nonsense is, right? They're here to be themselves. They're here to get educated and participate in extracurricular activities, as they should be allowed to do. Okay? They are human beings. That's it. They're human beings. And the fact that we can sit here and pretend like this is in any way part of educating our students is absurd to me. I'm like shaking because I'm so furious that you're wasting our time and also doing this in the shadiest manner possible. Like, I'm not even kidding you. I had to race over here. Okay, I left my 6-year-old son in front of the TV while my husband's finishing up working from home because this is so important. And I was given no time to arrange alternative childcare. Why are we doing this last minute? It makes no sense. And it's only because you want to get embroiled in a political fight to make yourselves look good to the conservative, bigoted members of our community. Thank you.
Nicole Kittle-Bro and Claire Belaski.
I'm Nicole Kittle-Bro. So hi, I'm Nicole. I have 2 kids in the district elementary school. My kids and their education are just not a pawn for your cultural wars. We don't need to be involved in this. I'm not interested in your religion. I don't care about your values. Like, I just want you to educate my darn kids. Like, why are we messing around with this still? Like, what promises do you have? What handshakes? Why are we doing this? Like, what is the point, right? I want your energy and your effort and your resources to go towards my kids. I'm going to fight your culture wars. 2 days ago, I emailed this board about heat guidelines. That my doctor looked at our heat guidelines online and was like, whoa, these kids should not be outside. I hear back from 3 of you. Is that because you're messing around with this stuff instead? Can you please return the focus to our children, our district, our school? That's it.
Okay. Claire Belaski is followed by Kelly Parsons.
Wow. I don't know where to begin. I'm just here to say, don't waste our money. I was one of the teachers that emailed you after last board meeting. I am a special ed teacher. I agree with everything they said. Thank you for the one, and I apologize because there's so much going on, who responded to me. So thank you very much for at least one of you responded. Bottom line, they're saying it all. Don't waste my tax money on something that you don't know that where it's going to go. I know I'm so frustrated right now, but anyways, I urge you to go back and read our beliefs. The first one states our primary responsibilities for student learning. How would spending money on lawsuits improve student learning in my classroom? Okay. The fourth belief on our mission statement declares integrity and fiscal responsibility on essential values of the health and vitality of the district to achieving its educational mission. Okay. That's where your money goes. How is it going to help our children? Again, don't spend money on lawyer fees. Be responsible. Thank you for listening, and you will see me again because I'm continuing to work here and share my thoughts and my wisdom of the years I've been in with this district, 31 years. And if I wasn't, unfortunately, I didn't get to teach all those, otherwise I've been retired. But I was a parent, and I was involved in anything that a parent could do. So I knew the district that I am part of and that my students, my children, all 4 of them went through, would use the money correctly. And just real quick, because I have a couple minutes. So my 2 boys are in the Navy, so they're doing well. My daughter has her teaching credentials. She's raising 2 of my grandkids with her husband. And my daughter, who lives in the district, and that's the other thing I think I was upset about because we lost, and I'm one of her constituents, lives in the district. And I think I would like to put her name in as a school board because she lives in our district and she will appreciate the values of those people living in that district. Thank you very much for listening.
Oh, wait, So I'll get 30 seconds. Please don't make this about putting a feather in your cap.
All right, Kelly Parsons, followed by Karen Posnanz.
Hey, y'all, I know you know me. I'm here tonight as a mother of 2 kiddos. They are Lisa J. Males Monarchs, and I am in my 21st year here teaching at this Murrieta High School. I'm asking you not to enter into an agreement with the Advocates of Faith and Freedom regarding the amicus brief on behalf of Murrieta Valley School Board. Notice that it doesn't say students, it says the school board. Nick, I'm really worried about the statement that you made prior to this public comments beginning, where you basically alluded that you were voting yes, not listening to the public, not listening to these comments. That concerns me. As a teacher and a mother, I want this board to listen and make educated, informed decisions based on the community. I saw the attached agreement that was revised today at 2:40, so I don't know all the rules about 24-hour notice, but I don't know, 2:40, not 24 hours. Just before this meeting, I read the paperwork last night and saw the original language that included, client will make a good faith effort to help the firm raise money to support this case, among others. While that language has been removed because I'm sure some phone calls were made, it does worry me that it was included in the first draft. Regardless of how I feel regarding the issue of Title IX, financially, we are not in a position to enter into lawsuits that are not the benefit of students. A simple Google search, and I Googled it at 3:31 when I was done teaching for the day because I did my research. A simple Google search will show you that surrounding districts, Temecula, have hired this law firm, and it has cost them tens of thousands of dollars. This case is already going to the Supreme Court. My children's education does not need to be put into a financially compromised position because the request of a few board members. I sat in a wonderful training yesterday, beautiful training yesterday, about the progress our district is making, and yet the conversations around money was ever present. Will there be enough money to cover the costs of these trainings, programs, and systems? Based on what I'm hearing, we're going to have to get real creative. When we have schools closed because the water main breaks and those families are thinking, no school today, I am sure they are just loving the fact that we're going to enter into a lawsuit. We know that their answer is no. They want to send their kids to school to get the best education we know that our district and our teachers provide. My children don't care about lawsuits. They care about their library and whether or not they're going to have books. They don't understand amicus briefs, but they do understand whether their teacher is feeling valued by the district. I know because they ask me, why are you going to be gone for dinner tonight? Because I'm going to fight for your rights as a student in our district. And as a teacher, I value what we do here. These teachers in red value what we do here. This is embarrassing, and I'm going to waste your time like you are wasting ours. So I'm going to use every single second. It is embarrassing. You should be embarrassed.
Karen Posnanz is followed by Justice Stiles.
Okay. Before I start, I would like to put on record, Trustee Briggs, I have been asking for a meeting with you since January, and you have over and over and over again refused to meet with me. And you did stand here with a public comment saying, let's take it to the Supreme Court. Political. I'm here tonight as both an educator and a community member, deeply concerned about the direction our district has taken. While our classrooms are overcrowded, my daughter is in a class with 37 other students. Make that make sense. Absolutely. And our students are experiencing the daily effects of budget cuts. This board is choosing to spend district funds on legal battles and amicus briefs that do not put students' education first. I'd like to also say on record that I asked for $100 of supplies to teach 100 middle school students. I was denied. I was told we don't have the money. So I have to buy my own pencils. I can't even get $100. That's less than $1 per student. That's a problem. But let's be clear, every dollar spent on outside attorneys is a dollar not spent on classroom instruction, materials, and fair compensation for teachers who hold this district together. We're working without a raise and a contract right now because you don't have the money. That's what we're told.
Our families are seeing the strain of larger class sizes, reduced resources, and limited support for our students. When they watch resources diverted away from our schools and into the class and into the classroom is not just disappointing, it's a betrayal of the priorities of our community. This morning, the attorney engagement agreement stated, quote, client will make a good faith effort to help raise money to support this case among others, end of quote. At 2:40, it was changed to client understands. So you understand that the firm needs funds to litigate cases and relies on generous donations of individuals and entities, end of quote. Please confirm on record in your discussion that our district will not be donating $1 to this law firm. My comment right now is not about politics, and you know how I feel about this. I am I'm a proud mother of a trans child who graduated UCLA in 3 years and is now at graduate school at USC, who graduated from this district. But my comment is about the stewardship of public funds. Our tax dollars are meant to serve children, not to fuel divisive legal strategies that do nothing to improve learning outcomes. What is this going to do to improve learning in our classrooms? I have students literally cursing me out in class, and you're going to divert your time to this? I urge you to reconsider this decision. It's not what our community expects, and it's not what our children deserve. And that's that.
Justice Stiles is followed by Lisa Murray. I don't come to many of these board meetings. I have a business to run and 3 kids who are all students of this district, and keeps me busy. This meeting I had to cancel one of my own for, so I could be here to talk about this. I hope I impress upon you that this is something that means a lot to me. I think a lot of the energy and negative energy we're feeling in this room come down to a bit of credibility. I don't think anyone, myself included, finds a statement that this amicus brief is the end of it and that it'll cost us nothing is truthful. Similar assurances were made to the Temecula School District by AFF before they turned around and presented them with a bill for $300,000. Not credible. Track record doesn't bear it out. Our district does have real problems that need to be addressed. We are struggling with our math and English proficiency scores. We have constant funding problems. We have a teacher-to-student ratio that's 20% worse than the state average. These are the problems I want you here solving. These are the things my kids will benefit from. This lawsuit doesn't improve the educational outcome of even a single student in our district. What's more, it opens a Pandora's box of possible counter moves that will embroil us in further legal trouble. And if you think this costs us nothing, those certainly will cost us something. It's never the end once you engage in the culture wars. It's the wrong issue for us. We don't want it. We, the parents, don't want it. I want you to, this is where the rubber meets the road, local government, where real work has to be done, not grandstanding about big issues that don't really make a big difference. We're talking about a tiny minority of students here that we're not worried about. What'd you find? 42 gender support plans in the district of 22,000? It's well less than 1/10 of 1%. Focus on the real issues. Don't divert your time and money to things that aren't important. Don't become the pawn of an activist law firm who wants you to sign on to their culture wars and put you on the hook for the bill, and us teachers and us parents in the middle of it all. This isn't what we sent you here for. Please make the right decision. Say no to AFF. Get back to work actually improving educational outcomes. Thank you. Lisa Murray is followed by Margaret Beck.
Good evening. Okay, let's cut the baloney. You know that this is going to cost money. Okay. Advocates for Faith and Freedom has a track record, just like these other people have said. So we're going to just pretend that you didn't even say that, Nick, because we know what's going to happen. We all do. Everybody in this room knows what's going to happen. Seems that the 3 of you are the only people who are blind about this issue. I'm here tonight to say what every educator in this district already knows. Our schools cannot afford to waste precious, limited resources on attorneys, lawsuits, or political battles that will be fought with or without our district's name attached. I've spent the last 9 months telling you guys exactly what our teachers need in order to support and improve student learning. We need smaller classes, more classroom aid support, and more time to get our jobs done well. Yet just yesterday, we spent the day in negotiations being told there are no resources available to make improvements in any of these areas. There's no money for salary increases, no money for release days for our special education teachers, no money for reducing secondary PE classes that are dangerously large, no money to pay overages to elementary teachers who have more than 30 students in their kindergarten and first grade classes, let alone those upper grades that have 37 and beyond. No money to hire additional classroom aides to support student learning. No money for anything at all. All the while, our teachers are struggling every single day, some of us having actually taken a pay cut this year due to the increased cost of health benefits, and still trying desperately to meet the needs of students in overcrowded classrooms full of outrageous behaviors. You all have decided that hiring yet another law firm to involve us in a battle that will be waged either way isn't why do you think this is an appropriate use of district funds? Please make it make sense. Every time this board chooses to spend money on waging your own personal political battles, you are making a choice against the needs of students and teachers in this district. You are taking resources away from classrooms, away from smaller class sizes, and away from additional aids and classroom supports that our teachers and students desperately need. Let's be clear. Legal battles and political agendas do not increase learning or raise test scores. Our district is not a political playground, and our students should not be collateral damage of wasteful spending. When you spend money on lawyers instead of learning, you are telling parents, teachers, and children that power struggles matter more than their future. That is unacceptable. We need leaders who stay focused on students, on smaller class sizes, on classroom support, on real solutions that improve teaching and learning conditions. The students of this district deserve better. I am calling on you tonight to stop this madness and start investing in our classrooms.
Margaret Beck, followed by Kelly Swanson. Thank you.
Next speaker, we didn't hear the name. Could you please?
Kelly Swanson.
I thought it was Margaret Back. Did you say Margaret Back?
I said Margaret Beck, but she didn't come up.
Well, she didn't hear it because people were clapping.
Oh,
Right.
Margaret Beck, come on up. Come on up. Kelly Swanson is follows.
I think I'm the last person to speak, and actually, this is excellent that I'm the last person to speak because I just want to turn around. Oh, there's more? Oh, okay. Good. I just want to say that they said everything that I want to say, but there's one other thing that I want to say. You say it's not costing any money. But what does it cost? Why are all these people having to be here? Taking their time, taking their energy, taking them away from their families, taking them away from their jobs for something that does zero for your mission as a school board. What is the mission of a school board? Think about that. There's zero ROI on this. I work for a $2 billion business company, and I work in the corporate world. The ROI on this is nothing. In fact, given the feelings in this room, it's way negative. So think about that when you're thinking about the cost. Cost is not just dollars. Cost is stress. Cost is time. And please treat the human beings in the parents, the teachers, and the students with a little more respect of their time and the cost and the stress. And that's all I got to say.
Kelly Swanson is followed by Chris Tomasian.
Hi. I'm just going to stick to what I wrote so that I remain calm. So I'm here today as a parent, a special educator, and an advocate for students and staff. I want to express my serious concern over the board's decision in regard to this legal counsel who doesn't even specialize in education law. And now after what I'm hearing, is absolutely not necessary for our district. The choice is troubling, especially when we are told there's no money available for staff raises or to reduce class sizes. Our classrooms are overcrowded, our teachers and support staff are underpaid, overworked, and morale is suffering. Yet we're seeing decisions that prioritize outside consultants and administrative raises over the people who are directly responsible for educating our children. It's especially disheartening to learn that the superintendent is receiving a 2.5% raise while the rest of us are being told to wait, be patient, or accept the status quo. If there is room in the budget for administrative raises, there must be room for equitable raises for the staff who are in classrooms every day doing the work that keeps this district running. So I'm asking the board to reconsider and invest in the people who make education possible. Let's ensure that every dollar spent reflects our commitment to students, staff, and the future of our schools. And your smugness is so disgusting.
Chris Tomasian is followed by Dimana Casey.
All right. I am extremely concerned that this contract contains a provision for the Murrieta School District to raise money to support a private law firm. How is the district going to hold a fundraiser to support this cause? Will employees be required to bring goodies for the bake sale? Are teachers going to have to go door to door selling cookies? This contract states that the district is to fundraise not only for this case, but others. What other cases? Are you going to get a list? How much money are the employees supposed to raise for these attorneys? For how long? Who decides when enough money has been raised? As a taxpayer who pays the salaries of district staff who are supposed to be focused on student learning, I am opposed to them taking time away from their valuable mission to fundraise for Bob Tyler. And I have something to say about that later because I know you canceled that. I see that the amicus brief is not included in this agenda item. Is that coming back to the board or staff for approval? I hope so, because it would be unprecedented for the board to give free rein to a law firm to submit items to a court without approval from the district. One last thing. I cannot figure out what is so urgent about this agenda item that you gave the public only 25 hours notice. As a board member for 21 years and an active attendee of board meetings for several years prior to being elected, I have never seen such short notice for a board meeting. Nick, you always talk about your constituents and transparency. And for you to call for a board meeting with only 25 hours notice is clearly a slap in the face of your constituents. Instead of transparency, this looks like you're trying to sneak this item in without public knowledge. Now, I understand that a whole 2 hours and 20 minutes prior to the beginning of this meeting, this agenda item was amended to exclude the section about fundraising. And that's pretty smart because I don't want to see our teachers knocking on my door selling cookies. All right? And I think it's also an illegal use of public funds. Okay? So it seems to me your law firm doesn't know the law. All right? And since I don't know why there's such a rush, hopefully you'll explain it to us why this has to be done right now. Table it. You got a meeting in less than a week. Table this item.
Dimana Casey, followed by Jeremy Murphy.
Diamante. Right. I think most of what I had to say has already been said, and so I wrote something. So I'm just kind of start in middle and hope it covers everything that hasn't. Oh, thank you so much. That hasn't been addressed already. Why in a district where teachers, counselors, and support staff are working tirelessly without the necessary resources and support, should we consider redirecting funds for a case that, while important, does not directly impact the day-to-day challenges of our students and staff and will go to the Supreme Court without our involvement? The legal system is already at work and it's unlikely that our district's participation will change that outcome. As a district, we should be cautious about aligning ourselves with any political agenda, especially when our resources are limited. I believe that our focus should be on the issues that truly affect our students, educators, and the communities that we serve right here in this district. We are facing serious challenges that require our attention. Some of those were already brought today with the special education concerns. We should be concerned with ones that are far more immediate and tangible to the everyday lives of our students. And I'm skipping stuff because it's already been said. We also have staff such as school psychologists and counselors who are increasingly overburdened. This board voted to remove many of the social workers from our sites, and those of us remaining are shouldering heavier and less manageable workloads. Our educators and support staff are working harder than ever, but are feeling underpaid and undervalued. And I think that last part is most important. We can't ignore the strain that these factors place on the people who directly influence our students' experiences in the classroom. I think we also need to consider the cultural competence of our staff. Some teachers and administrators lack the necessary tools to effectively engage with students and families from differing backgrounds. And I've heard from parents who feel their concerns are dismissed or understood. And these experiences create barriers between our schools and the communities that we serve. What if we instead invested our time, energy, and resources into training to ensure that all of our staff can approach interactions with sensitivity and an open mind? Such initiatives would have a direct and positive impact on our students and our families. We must ask ourselves, in a time of limited resources and escalating demands on our educators, is this where we want to direct our funds? By dedicating time and effort to politically charged legal battles, we risk diverting our attention away from the work that will truly benefit our students. Instead of getting caught up in the national controversy that doesn't directly impact our local community, let's redirect our energy into initiatives that will make a meaningful difference, improving special education services, reducing staff burnout, fostering cultural competence, and ensuring that all students have the support they need to succeed. Let us be a district that prioritizes the real challenges our students face every day. Let us focus on what truly matters: fairness, acceptance, and support right here in our schools, and invest in initiatives that directly and tangibly benefit our students and their futures.
All right, Jeremy Murphy, followed by Mark Sanchez.
I appreciate the time. I'm a dad of 3 daughters in the district. I love that the special meeting is happening on Constitution Day because it's an interesting nod to the rights that you're choosing to ignore. You do realize that you're going to sign an agreement that restricts all board members' ability to speak on a federal Supreme Court case. Like, why would you sign something that restricts your speech? Don't you have questions about why this firm needs that kind of message control? And there's obviously room for revision here, and that's kind of been the standard operating procedure for this board. Multiple times, items have been placed on the agenda only to be adapted or revised or simply discarded and then replaced with another district's work. That's the same thing that happened here. You agendized something, Temecula made revisions this morning, and you updated your agenda with those exact same revisions. Like, why can't we operate separate from these outside districts? Why can't we put Murrieta first? You can and should dictate the terms here on this contract based on Murrieta, not other communities. There's always been an issue with this firm. Past contracts have been deemed unethical. Even this agreement had to be amended. And let's not forget, this is the firm that argued in court that Jim Crow was a, quote, civil rights individual. What type of law firm wants you to approve an agreement without seeing the product of that agreement, right? The brief has to be written. The deadline's tomorrow. Why can't we see it? What's being hidden here? This case has been on the docket for the Supreme Court since July. So if filing a brief was that important, why not do it months ago? And you'll say that this firm is free, but the agreement literally references costs, quote, aid by the client, unquote. And if it's just an amicus brief, why have that language at all? And I'm not naive. I understand our words here probably won't change the outcome. You hired Bob Tyler's other firm and ignored 100% of the public comments at that meeting. And now we're going to sign this agreement with this Bob Tyler firm. So now we have two Bob Tyler firms being paid by the district with our tax dollars. So I'm just curious, like, how much of our tax dollars are we planning to give to the secretary of the PAC that funds Nick's campaign? And finally, you say that this is about protection and fairness, but it's clear you don't mean it. Not a single board member has done anything to address the current inequality and safety issues in our district between girls and boys activities, whether it's funding, facilities access, coverage, you name it. You're not concerned about current protection and fairness problems here at home. You're not concerned about wasting tax dollars. You're not concerned about leading Murrieta because you're too busy following other districts. This desire for national grandstanding shows no regard for Murrieta residents or students. It isn't leadership. It's not Murrieta first.
I was speaking to you as a concerned parent regarding the situation within one of the high schools. It was brought to my attention that Murrieta Mesa and the district of Murrieta Valley, which represents, is allowing a biological male student who identifies as a female to change in the girls' locker room. Upon learning this, I immediately questioned why families of the female students that are impacted were not notified. This lack of transparency compromises our ability to protect our children and have a voice in decisions that affect them. I immediately requested a meeting with the school administration. While this conversation with the administration was, I was surprised to find that the administration themselves were not aware of the situation. As a student, I had been officially registered as a female. In the later meeting with the different administration, I was told that they must abide by the law and there wasn't much they could do. I was further told that if my child does not feel comfortable with it.
Excuse me, you do not get to interrupt our meeting and you need to be polite to other speakers. Otherwise, you'll be removed. I'm going to give you a warning and then you're going to be removed. Please do so.
Please note, this is not about discrimination, rather about communication, fairness, and to ensure that all students feel safe and respected in their rightful spaces. Ultimately, I'm respectfully asking.
Sir, can you direct this towards the agenda item? It is related, but just direct it towards the agenda item.
Okay, I'll just stop there.
No,
That's all right, babe.
No, Mr. Andres, Dr. Andres, I'd like to hear him. It is related to the agenda item. Mr. Sanchez, would you please come and finish?
And that was the point, but I appreciate your courage in stepping up. Thank you so much.
Wow. Wow. Nick, can you use his time?
you
I
have
don't have
to submit a comment card. They have to submit a comment card.
You have to submit a comment card. It's okay. We'll move on.
I wanted to find back into the
Yeah. I
Thank
thank you.
appreciate it. All right. With that being done, we're moving on to action items, which is E1, attorney engagement agreement, calls for a motion.
So moved. Second.
All right. Let's have a discussion because I know Nancy looks like you have prepared notes. So whoever would like to speak on this issue.
I do have a few things to say. So I'm hoping you all will listen to the public. I'm not optimistic. So I'm very aware that nothing I say or that anything any actual parent or other community member says that does not go along with their narrative will make any difference. I hope they prove me wrong. They have a playbook, which is being directed by outside groups, and they will follow it no matter what anyone says. Temecula scheduled exactly the same meeting with the exact same contract this morning. So announcing this meeting on one day's notice without asking us if we were free, we found out when you did, was just really inconsiderate. I was supposed to be at a training this afternoon for my coaching, and there's no way for me to make it up. There's another meeting that I'm having to miss that I was scheduled for. I'm sure that many others, and a lot of people brought this up, many others had conflicts this evening. You've launched quite a few attacks on our LGBTQ community, and there's definitely not an emergency that required that we all had to give up our evening so that you can launch yet another one. This meeting has nothing to do with MVUSD. It will not help our students' academic success. This unnecessary meeting costs money to put on. We are facing steep monetary shortfalls. This money could be better used to support classroom learning, extracurricular activities, or professional development. This board is failing in its obligation to be nonpartisan. It's failing in its duty to support all students. This is nothing but a political stunt to get these 3 trustees' social media attention. This board majority has already hired Bob Tyler's other law firm on our taxpayer dollars. Both of his law firms exist to force their political and religious views on public school students. They're enriching themselves on our tax dollars and getting themselves lots of media attention. This so-called pro bono law firm billed Chino almost $400,000. They also recently billed Temecula $350,000. Temecula managed to negotiate it down. But, of course, they lost the case because they lose virtually every case. So Temecula is on the hook for up to $3 million. They're negotiating, they're hoping to get it down to maybe as low as $1.5 million. This is the pro bono law firm that they're claiming is free. So this law firm has a long history of taking public dollars, and they have a long history of losing cases. I would actually like a neutral education attorney to look over the contract. And I have personally spoken to attorneys already, and I didn't know that a couple things have changed. So this is, so there is that provision which requires all of us to give up our First Amendment rights. I have been informed that this is illegal. This law firm cannot appoint itself as the sole spokesperson for this district, and I will personally not give up my First Amendment rights, and I will speak to whomever I choose. It's also a violation of our board policy 9010. Secondly, this is in a paragraph 15, the word organization is used numerous times. You can tell it's a cut and paste contract they use for everybody. It should be changed to district. This is actually a school district. This and the fundraising thing, it looks like they tweaked it a little bit, but we cannot use a public school district to raise funds for a political and religious law firm. This is a violation of Education Code 7054. Public school districts are not allowed to hold fundraising events for political candidates. They are not allowed to hold fundraising events for political law firms either. It's not surprising that this law firm has added illegal items to this contract, looking at their history. The arbitration clause is also problematic. It's telling the district, it's relieving the district of its rights. That should be removed. Our very own Julianne Fleischer, somebody made reference. She made reference to Jim Crow in her brief, and when questioned about it, she thought Jim Crow was a person. That's really embarrassing. I don't know how somebody with a law school degree cannot know that. I think our high school students all know that. As elected trustees, it's our duty to protect all of our students in the district, not to divert district resources into national lawsuits that single out a small minority. And by small minority, it is well under 0.2% of our students. By the way, none of whom are involved in sports. This political law firm is also trying to advance
a segment of a singular faith, which also violates the constitutional separation of church and state. Again, this has nothing to do with our school district. We have no business spending taxpayer funds on a political stunt. This is an abuse of power and it's a misuse of public funds. Thank you.
All right. Well, one of the things I'd like to address is why now? Well, it turns out that this is when we finally get to get some clarification from the Supreme Court as to the gender issues that our kids face all the time in the bathroom, in locker rooms, and we just had a gentleman come up and discuss it. I know that we have board members. I know I walk districts. Now, I understand that all the people in red represent the teachers union. And teachers, and you're a parent. Well, what I think is really interesting is that I'm fully aware that you're teachers, and this is a teachers union. That's what the red shirts represent. It says MEA straight on it. Okay, so let's not mince words too much. One of the issues that I have is for us to come up and say that we're stealing resources from our children, from our district, right? When it's the CTA that refuses to fund this district. And instead of spending the energy to go fight for your funds at the state level, you choose to come and blow our hair back when we don't have control over state funds. We don't have control over how much money gets sent to us. We have to try with the resources given to us to manage this school district. That's not my issue. And if you would direct your energies that way, that would help a lot. Furthermore, and I've said this, and this will be the third time, and I'm glad you're here for it. It was SB 274 that allowed you to get cursed out in front of your class. And it's a shame that that happened. It really is. It's one of the reasons that I got involved in politics, because I've seen teachers get assaulted. I've had teachers, as I've walked this district, tell me they're being bullied by 13-year-olds. Excuse me. I had to listen to you, and now you get to listen to me. That's a big deal because the CTA took no stance on it. And instead of taking that up the chain, because it's a Democratic Party that pushed that, the Democratic Party that pushed the funding that we have here, these funding issues. Don't pretend for 1 second that we have control over those issues. We do everything we can to support teachers in the classroom. And I can tell you right now that this board has been very tough with Dr. Andrus to make sure administrators support teachers in the classroom when it comes to disciplinary issues. So that element, I think you might need to look in the mirror a little bit more on that. Funding issues also are complicated by the fact that we have declining enrollments. We have declining enrollments for what purpose? Why do we have declining enrollments? Well, one reason is because my constituents are watching on that television. Not all of them show up. Everyone in this room does not represent all the constituents. Your voice does not represent every constituent in Murrieta. That you are actively involved in what happens here on the school board is great. It's your right to do so. And I'm aware that the union, that's what unions do, they are politically active, rally the troops and show up when it's your cause. And that's who showed up. That's what this stack represents, is one position. It is definitely in our area, we have lots of parents who are concerned about what's going on. And the polling on this is significant. People are concerned about what happens to their kids at public schools. And for you to pretend like that doesn't exist, and how we just shouted down a parent who came up to speak. We had a whole union shout down a parent that you serve, and then you wonder, why will the taxpayers support our public schools if you continue to demean the parents in our district? I don't think so either. I agree. I agree with that. So one of the things that I think is important, and one of the things that as a board and as a constituent, as a teacher, is for this problem to be resolved by the Supreme Court. I think it's very important that the Supreme Court weighs in. And I think it's important for this community, Murrieta, that it happens to be a very conservative district. And you serve, besides Muslim students, a lot of Christian students. And to have teachers come up and demean people of faith who are Christian, it just blows me away. Why would you do that? Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's kind of interesting that we would have that reaction. But since it's not a back and forth, I will just tell you that right now that I know that parents are concerned. And I know this because I do listen to my constituents and I do walk our schools and I talk to as many people as I can about these issues, right? Been to every school save one. With that being said, I think I'm going to turn over my time to any of the other board members that'd like to speak on the issue.
First of all, this specific item of this amicus brief that we're joining, there's not even a legal filing fee with the Supreme Court, like a $0 filing fee for us to be a part of it. And I think it's very disingenuous for somebody to represent, even say in the community that we don't care about teachers, we don't care about special needs. I have approached our MEA president to say, what can we do to help? I have, and right. And I understand. Excuse me. Listen, we have students in the room. Let's follow the teacher student, where you give them the respect that we sat here. Ms. Poznansky, while you sat here, I didn't say a word. And I didn't say to you that I responded to your emails and the condition on our meeting, but you refused to put that there as well. You have receipts. Absolutely. And I'm okay with that, but give me the time to speak now. I afforded you that time on this podium. I apologize, Mr. Sanchez, for the manner in which you were treated here. I feel terrible, truly, because I was you just before this election, which is what put me on this dais. That's exactly the issue that put me on this spot today. And the reason I am going to vote yes to have us add us to the amicus brief today is because parents like you and I decide to stand up and speak. But because we're not as loud in the room as some people, then it comes across that we are the minority. And that is not the truth, specifically not just in Nick's constituency, which, maybe he is up for election for this thing. But you know what? He has a huge amount of parents, just like you and I, Mr. Sanchez, who are fighting and advocating for students, for normalcy in our community in terms of boys and girls bathroom and girls that is normal. Yes. Yes.
This is
We are voting for this. Listen,
Let's do this. Enough with the back and forth.
It's not an exchange.
We're going to finish our comments, and I appreciate if the community members would stop the engagement as well.
so we are going to move forward with it, and I'm telling you now why my vote is yes for this, because this is the reason I started this, and this is the reason I'm here, to advocate on behalf, to be a voice for the voiceless. The people who, like Mr. Sanchez, stand up here and decide to become brave and stand up and literally fight for our kids in the public school system. It's amazing. I applaud him. And then in terms of, my colleague here referring to, again, another political stunt, I cannot get this through enough, and I'll probably say it at every meeting. I have no desire. Do you all think I'm trying to be like the first Pacific Islander president in the nation? I have no political ambitions. The only thing that drove me to this seat is the reason Mr. Sanchez is in this room today. This is the only reason I'm here. Didn't even know there was a school board that existed, but now that I found a voice, I am using my voice to advocate for the people for items like this one, item E1, which we are going to vote on today. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Okay. I just think that, like the other speaker, that it's prophetic that this meeting is taking place on September 17th, Constitution Day. I think, wow, I think it's prophetic. And like you, who are saying you took your time out of your day, I understand that and I appreciate that. I've been up since 5:30 this morning and haven't been home because I've been at work all day. Probably like you. I agree. A teacher's day is never done. I understand that. But It is us as well. I'm not home with my family. This is the third night in a row I haven't seen my husband either. So I understand that, but we do that because it's important, right? Just like it's important for you, it's important for us. And someone said, what is the point? Well, the point is to protect our girls. I'm a former college athlete. My daughter is a former college athlete. We may not have got those scholarships if we were competing against biological males. And as a fellow teacher, and look, I even have my button on here, Red for Ed, I'm actually very disappointed in the comments made here by my fellow colleagues, teachers. And as a parent of a girl, I'm shocked that you guys are parents, a lot of you, and that you are throwing girls under the bus. I mean, can your daughters look at you in the face and say, wow, I'm so proud of you? I know my daughter can, because I just am really shocked that this is teachers and parents. And then as far as the amicus brief, the attorney, from what we learned, is a great way to put our views before the court, before the Supreme Court, without going into litigation. This is a way of showing our support. We support them. So this is how we're doing it, without paying for anything. This is a way to show that we want to protect Title IX and protect girls in sports. We have a girl right up here in sports. I want to protect her. I come here, I take time away from my family to help protect children as well, and I want to protect girls. And this could be a turning point in our nation, and for our girls. And this is why I am going to vote yes.
I'm going to make a statement, one more statement that I think is important for the people listening at home. The teachers that spoke here, and you have every right to speak, you have a specific political perspective. And I think it's important that that's mostly what we heard. That's mostly what's represented in this room. I think it's important for the parents at home to know that not all teachers hold that perspective, that this school district has a variety of teachers who really are focused on doing their job and are not just political activists. I want to make sure that we know that every perspective is represented in our school district, and our teachers do a good job of taking care of our kids and teaching them. I would hate to see our enrollments decline any further. With that being said, I think it's time for a vote.
You were just so disrespectful to this entire audience.
Let's take a vote.
All in favor?
No, just vote.
All in
Just vote.
all in favor?
We can,
All in favor? We'll roll call. Let's roll call. Nancy Young.
No.
Nick Pardue, yes. Mrs. Briggs.
Yes.
Mrs. Schmidt.
yes.
Motion carries 3-1. I call for a motion to adjourn the Board of Education special meeting at 6:04 p.m. All in favor? Oh, wait, sorry. A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 4-0. Meeting's adjourned.